Hello everyone and welcome to I'll Be Sewing. My name is Gina, and first we're gonna give the name of the person that won the giveaway from our last video. We will be posting it here, also in the description of the video. And if you are the winner, you have 2 weeks to contact us with your shipping information. And thank you for playing. And now I want to show you guys this bag here, and this is not going to be a video to show you how to make the bag because we've made this bag before in different sizes. The video will be about to show you how to calculate your fabric if you want to change the size of the bag. So I have this one here, I have another one here different, and this one here I have like vinyl on the bottom and I have a Harry Potter on the top. There's this one here that I made that has cork on the bottom, and this one, as you see, is fairly big, really tall and big. So it's just sometimes I get a lot of questions how to calculate the fabric. What do I need to cut in fabric to make a bag bigger or to change the size? So we're gonna cover that. So we're gonna do the smaller one here. We're gonna calculate the measurements of this one here for you. So for example, this bag that I have here from here to here I have 5-inch tall. For example, 5-inch tall is my height of my bag, so I have 5. My length of my bag here I have 9 inches, so by 9. And then the bottom here I have 3 inches by 3. Okay, so what I'm gonna make, what pieces of fabric do I need to cut to make the bag for this size? So let's calculate. So we're gonna need, for the length of the fabric, to have 9 here, we're gonna need 9 plus, as you see, I have some of that fabric here, so 9 plus half for this side, half for this side, and I know my side here is 5, so 2.5, 2.5, that would be 5, that would be 9 plus 5, plus 1 inch for seam allowance, plus 1. That would equal to, so 9, that's 14, that's 15 inches. Alright, so I would need my piece, the length of my piece would have to be 15 inches. And I know my length of my piece has 15 inches. Now I need to calculate what do I need to go all the way around my bag. So what do I know about this bag? I know that this bag has 5 inches here, so I would go 5 inches. And on this side here I also have 5 inches, that would be plus 5 inches. And what else do I have? I know my bottom is 3 inches, so that would be plus 3 inches. And I know my top, because it's a square box, is also 3 inches. So that would be 10 plus 5, 5 plus 5 is 10, 13, and that's 13, 16. And now I need seam allowance. I would add 1 inch for seam allowance. I would end up with 17 inches. So the piece of fabric to make this bag, if I'm making only one color, I need to cut a piece of fabric 15 by 17. So I need 15 wide and 17 height. So my piece would have to be like this. So this would be 15 inches and this one here would be 17 inches. Alright, so now as you see here I have 2 colors. I did mine with 2 colors. If you choose that you want to do 2 colors, how do you calculate that measurement? So the length of my fabric is not going to change. The 15 inches is not going to change at all. You're going to leave it like that. But we need to calculate is the piece that's going to go in the middle here. Okay, so we need to calculate this piece, how much is the top and how much is the bottom here. So what do I know about my bag? I know that my bag has 5 here. So half of that, so let's calculate the bottom fabric first, this part here. So it's 5 here, so I need half here. So this was, if this was 5, this would be 2.5. That would be 2.5. I have a seam allowance joining to this piece, so I'm going to add half an inch point plus 0.5 inch, half an inch for my seam allowance. And then plus, what else do I know? This side here, I'm going to need the same thing. I would need the 2.5 plus 5.5 for seam allowance. And then I need my bottom, and I know my bottom is 3. Then plus 3. That equals 2.5, that's 3. 3 and 3, that's 6. With 3 is 9 inches. So I know the piece that I need to cut to go here in the middle, it's going to be 9 inches. Okay, from here to here, it's going to be 9 inches. Now how do we calculate the top? These two pieces here. So where do we know here? So we had this was 5, it's 2.5. So I would have 2.5 plus 0.5 seam allowance because we're joining with this one, plus whatever we have here. We had, this was 3 inches. So half of 3 inches would be 1.5 plus seam allowance plus 0.5. So I'll give you 3. So 2.5 plus 0.5 is 3 inches, plus 1.5 is 4.5 inches, plus 0.5 is 5 inches. Okay, so, and that would be times 2 because I'm going to need one piece for this side and one piece for this side. Okay, I hope that helped with the figuring out the measurements. When you calculate, any other side would work the same way. So this one here, I have 10 inches this way, so I would make my calculations exactly the same way I did with that one. So now what a lot of people sometimes say, yeah, I have my fabrics cut out, but no, how do I cut my corners to accomplish that design there? How do I make my mat? What size do I cut my corners? So I have one here, and I am not going to show you how to put the bag together because we've done this before. I will put a link to a video that shows you how to get to this step. It's going to be only one fabric, but it's the same thing, how to get your zipper in. We'll put a link in the bottom of the description of the video so you can go back there and find out how to get to this stage. I'm just going to put my zipper pulls together, and I'm going to show you how to calculate the corners. Okay, so when you have your bag like this, we had bags that we've done like this before. You're going to turn it to the wrong side. And first thing I want you to do is fold your fabrics like this. Fold the zipper, put your fabrics evenly together here. And find your middle. So of course we're going to put some zipper tabs here, some little tabs here on the side. So we're gonna add that, but I'm just gonna show you how to figure out what to cut for corners. That part, it shows you all in the other videos that I've done before, so you guys can go back to those videos and look at it. So I have my middle here. I'm just gonna show you how to figure out what to cut for corners. My middle is gonna come here to the zipper part, and I'm just gonna go ahead and put a clip here to hold it in place. So I have that even, and I normally go here and push these really well to the side so I have a really good cut there, a good fold there. Do the same thing here. Just gonna put a clip just to hold things in place. Okay. So what do we know about the bag? We know that this part here is 5 inches. That means my corner here has to be, so if I did 2 inches would give me, so if I cut 2 inches, okay, let's see, let's measure and so you can understand. So if I do 2 inches from here to here, so if I do 2 inches from there to there, of course you're going to have to sew a seam here, sew your seam here, and sew your seam there. Keep it closed. I'm just going to show you to do your calculations. After you've done that, if you do, for example, 2 inches and 2 inches, 2 in and 2 up, and if you use a 1/2 inch seam allowance, that would give you a 5 inches height here. That will give you 5 inches here. But before you do that, because sometimes depending when you add the zipper, and you know, sometimes you quilt it and sometimes the fabric doesn't end up exactly the same size, that could change a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure here my 2 inches again. So, and then if I do my 1/2 inch seam allowance, if I measure that to there, and if I measure that seam allowance there to there, from my seam allowance to my seam allowance, I should have 9. That's where the measurements that we had. See, look. So this is my corner of 2 inches with the 1/2 inch seam allowance will give me a 5 inch height. And if I measure that, I'm gonna already do the line here, that would be my seam allowance, just to see from here to here if I have my 9. And I have exactly my 9. That's the length of my bag. All right, so you calculate that all the time. So the height of here that you have here, so your corners is going to be 1/2 of that minus the seam allowance. Okay, so if I had, let's say, a 6 inch height, my corner here would have been 3 inches minus the seam allowance, so that would be 2.5. That would be that I draw the thing and give 1/2 inch for my seam allowance. Okay, so I hope that helps, and that you guys understand. You guys can make a few of these bags. So you're gonna, of course, repeat those corners everywhere on the 4 sides, cut it, and finish the bag as we've done in the other video that I'll put the link in the bottom. I hope that this video helped you to figure out your own measurements and make these bags in so many different sizes, whatever size you desire. Happy sewing, everyone. We'll see you next time for another video.